It's the Forever Knight A-thon. We're recapping and reviewing every single episode of Season 1 of the 1990s Canadian police procedural about a vampire detective taking a bite out of crime. Episode 5, Dance by the Light of the Moon, has an incredible cold open. Just one of the wildest series of events. I don't want to build it up too much, but just watch. A nervous man in a suit prowls around an empty warehouse clutching a manila envelope to his chest. He's approached by a beautiful lady she's only seen from behind. She embraces him and asks how it felt to be a thief, clearly getting a vicarious thrill from his misdeeds. Then, from the shadows, a second man emerges and chokes out the thief. So then she asks how it felt to be a murderer, getting a vicarious thrill from his misdeeds. But you can't get by on other people's thrills for too long. Eventually, you gotta have your own. So she stabs him too. What an incredibly convoluted way to start an episode. Holy shit, I am so on board. That's so confusing and weird and kind of dumb. I love it. Okay, so follow me here. Strangleman, it turns out, was a cop. One who Skanky and Stonetree liked.
Absolutely not. I mean, Burkhart was a straight arrow cop. 6 commendations in 12 years. Not one disciplinary action. He was in the nosebleed section of Stonetree's Golden Boy list for as long as I can remember.
Thief Man was an accountant. Both men had one thing in common. They frequented the same strip club, and they were both found with traces of the same unusual lipstick on them. Lipstick, like a pretty lady might wear. The cop was there investigating the accountant, it turns out, who was there investigating the dancers. Nick interrogates the dancer that both men were most fond of, name of Anne, and secretly gets a sample of her lipstick for testing later. Skanky sees this going down and goes on a jealous incel diatribe about the power women have over men.
Let's face it, Nick, it's all a game, a big, elaborate game. You can't trust them as far as you can throw their credit cards. Do you think they have any idea what effect they have on us, what power they have over us?
Then we flash back to 13th century France, and we see Jeanette seducing a young mortal Nick, and okay, wow, the theme of this episode seems to be that women are temptresses, that women lead men to vice and ruin. Don't love that.
Come on, Skanky, get out of the dark ages, huh? Can't blame women for all the evils of the world.
Okay, well, fine then, but you're on notice, Forever Knight. Hey, guess what? Were you wondering just now what makes Skanky come? Were you wondering that? Here you go.
I guess you're never gonna know what it's gonna be.
What's gonna be?
What it is that's gonna do it for you. With me, it's autumn afternoons, plaid skirts, knee socks.
I'm uncomfortable. Anyway, they discover accountant man was embezzling from a big oil corporation. Not only that, but Anne's lipstick, while not an exact match for the one found on the bodies, bears a lot of the same unusual features, like being from another country.
No color match.
Well, then why am I interested?
Because both the lipsticks were exotics. One from Japan, one from Taiwan.
Well, I'm convinced her lipstick is from Asia? Yeah, she's a murderer. Go get her. Nick goes to investigate, by which you mean he flies up and gets into her apartment through the window so he can talk with her. Turns out there's more to Anne than meets the eye, like there is with everyone. In addition to being a dancer, she's also formerly a corporate lawyer, which Nick is surprised to hear, but I wasn't because she's wearing a Harvard sweater. That's a very subtle clue that she might have a pretty educated background. Nick begins falling under Anne's spell, and she convinces him to steal Strangle Cop's notebook. Nick is evil again now, which you can tell because of the dark clothes he's wearing, which are different from the typical dark clothes he always wears. Everyone is immediately mad at him for being evil. Everyone can tell, and they're mad.
I call him at 3 in the morning, and he's out doing undercover with a little piece of work who probably did a piece of work on one of our guys, but now he's not sure.
I sent word that I wanted to see you because I thought you might be interested in knowing that I found out something that'll help your case. But I'm beginning to wonder if you even care about your case anymore.
Nick and Anne burn the notebook and smooch, but she's not satisfied. She wants more. Nick must kill. And that's no good for him, that he doesn't like doing that anymore. Skanky discovers that Anne worked at another strip club where an extremely similar pattern of murders occurred. Nick insists that they speak with Anne before revealing any of this to Stonetree, and Skanky goes along with it for some reason. But it's all a trap, you see, because Nick lures Skanky to the same abandoned warehouse where Anne lies in wait, and she's wearing a special costume just for him, and I don't know why.
It's not my usual style, but, I wore it just for you.
I'm uncomfortable. Now Nick has become the Strangle Cop. He strangles Skanky, finally succumbing to his darkness once and for all. I guess that's the show over. I guess his quest to become human is over. So she asks him how it felt to kill, and he's like, before I tell you how it felt for me to kill, for the first time I might add, why don't you tell me how it felt when you killed the first Strangle Cop? And she's like, oh, it felt like pretty good, I guess. Like it felt good to kill him. I liked killing him. Psych, Nick's wearing a wire, bozo. Okay. So was this a setup the whole time? Because like we saw him lie to Skanky at the precinct.
I think she'll be willing to tell us about it, Skanky. Mind if we talk to Anne before we go to Stone Tree?
Okay.
He lied to him there, and between then and now, I guess either changed his mind and set up this plan, or he was always playing Anne, or was he genuinely tempted to kill the Skank Man? I know I am sometimes. Anyway, Anne jumps off a building or whatever, but that's not important because the episode ends with a half-naked Nick being approached by a visibly horny LaCroix. This was not the strongest episode. At no point did I feel as though Nick was genuinely losing himself to his inner darkness, but I guess I should have, because it turns out you might be supposed to think that he was. I would have preferred if she had some kind of supernatural power to control people's minds or something, instead of just like, he's horny, so he's thinking, you know, maybe I'll be evil for her. I don't know. You could tie it in, universe. She backwards engineered a technique by studying vampires who have been established to be able to hypnotize people. So like, have her do that. That feels like it would be more interesting. As it is, I don't know. I've been pretty horny in my life. Never been kill somebody horny. It feels a little convenient that this one woman could have convinced so many discreet, non-murderous men to murder people. It's also not really clear to me what she gets out of this. She describes it at length, how she likes making people powerless and seeing their weakness to resist the power of her temptation, yada, yada, yada. But it feels all pretty tacked on, as though she cannot actually do things in life, only influence men to do things for her. If she's looking for a thrill, I don't know, try skydiving. Seems a lot easier. On tomorrow's episode, Nick's secret is at risk of being exposed by, and this is not a joke I'm making, a psychic consultant brought on to deal with a kidnapping case. And I'd like to thank the people who will forever be my knights over at patreon.com/scaredycats. In particular, I'd like to thank Verbena, Cooper Holmes, Joe McClory, Liz Widow, Maston Ginger, James Garford, C.H. Phillips, Gideon, Charlotte Hollingsworth, who is a separate person. No, I didn't make a mistake, shut up. Devin Kaler, Spooky Heather Sylvia, and definitely Todd. And I, Bobby Duke, the star of the channel, would like to thank the following people who's also the stars of the channel on account of their support on patreon.com/scaredycats. We got Jay Torney, Schadenfraulein, Lanston, Rachel Rat, Kato Moore, Carpad, Josh Manez, Hyla Tracy, Louisa Prito, and Jesse. Well, can you believe the shenanigans Nick Knight and his pals got up to in this one? Hey, we're gonna keep going all January, baby. You wanna get these videos a day early? Go on over to Patreon. Oh, wait. You can just wait. I mean, how bad do you need it,